Well, everybody's got secrets. Broadchurch, episode 3. Continuing my little journey through the first series, at least, of this particular show. So, this one, we have the father, Mark. I'm finally starting to get a handle on some of these characters' names. We have Mark getting arrested and questioning, and he doesn't answer properly. Eventually we find out why. Spoilers if you didn't figure that already. We're getting a little bit more into the dynamics of the characters and the town, and so far it is continuing to work for the most part. I've got one, I'm not going to say it's a big issue, but depending on how it pans out moving forward, it could be a big issue. We'll see. I'm enjoying David Tennant quite a bit in this. I'm really liking how he works an interrogation room. And just his very rapid fire, very calm way of questioning. Because, oftentimes, TV shows in general, you get the good cop, bad cop thing. Either they're trying, to really kind of get friendly with him, like, look, I'm trying to help you here. Or they're like getting really aggressive and really in the face, and he's kind of riding the middle ground. He's just asking questions. He'll get frustrated from time to time, but he'll just ask a question, gets an answer, asks another one, another, and I like that. I like that approach, and it makes a lot of sense to me. I've never been questioned by the police, so I'm not going to say that's more legitimate. I will say that it feels more authentic. It feels less like an act than what I often see in police interrogation scenes. So I like that quite a bit. I'm also really coming to like his dynamic with Ellie, with the woman that he's working with. They are at this point playing off each other really well, and the distaste they have for each other honestly kind of enhances the dynamic, and that's working quite well. We learn a little bit more about the female reporter, who I already hated, and I'm continuing to not like her. Just, we'll see if anything turns that around, but I'm like, you're a vulture. You're awful. So, the psychic came back, and he's a charlatan. Complete and total charlatan. I'm calling that right now. We don't get absolute confirmation of that in this, and I really kind of hope he doesn't turn up again. But like the instant he was sitting in the living room talking to Jodie Whittaker, and he starts doing the cold reading BS. And if you don't know anything about cold readings, you start with really vague stuff, and you're just gauging the reactions from the person or the other people in the room that you're talking with. You toss out letters, it starts with a J or an R, something about the piano, and he struck out, but I'm like, this is cold reading techniques. This is a parlor trick. This is a scam. So I now don't want him to show up again, because I don't like him. I kind of hate him. I'm really going to be curious as to how the young friend of Danny's is going to pan out, because I'm questioning his statement that Danny's dad hit him and used to hit him. Because, and granted, we're learning these people aren't what they seem to be, but what I'm learning about Mark, like, it doesn't seem to fit, and certainly not in the household dynamic, because I look at the way Jodie Whittaker interacts with him, especially when she's frustrated. She doesn't seem afraid of him. Now, granted, we don't have anyone saying that he's hit her, but someone with enough of a temper that he'd hit his kid, you'd imagine he's probably hit his wife, and she doesn't seem afraid of him. Now, maybe it's potential, maybe he does hit her, and that just speaks to a strength of character on her part. I don't know, but I'm not buying that kid's story right now. Sort of the one sort of stumbling point, talking about Mark. So I was half right, because I made the call that he was gay and was having an affair with a man. And I was half right. He was having an affair, but he wasn't gay. Now, the reason my head went there, it wasn't like he pinged my gaydar or something. I actually don't really have that all that well. it's not a thing I put a lot of stock into. But the reason my brain went there is because in my mind that would justify lying to the police. If he was hiding more than one thing, if he was hiding both an affair and the fact that he's gay, like either one of those by themselves, I'm like, your kid's dead, dude, own up to it. But if they had both been the case, I would have bought it. That he wasn't being totally honest with the police, or that he was a lot cagier about it. But that isn't what they did. It's only one of them. Which, this is the part that I said I'm not sure this works for me. And it's the fact that it was just an affair. At least so far as we understand it right now, 3 episodes in, it was just an affair. And I'm sorry, I cannot wrap my head around the idea that your kid is dead and you knowingly impede the investigation because you screwed around on your wife. Like, I get, not wanting your wife to find out, but your kid's dead. Your kid is dead. So the fact that he was... and it was being thrown at his face. It really didn't seem like he wasn't processing the fact that his kid was dead, or that he was in some kind of denial about it. He just wasn't helping. He was deliberately holding the thing up, forcing them to chase down him and his BS alibi and his awful friend who, I don't know what's going on there, but something's up with him. So I need a justification that is better than he was screwing around on his wife for why he did this. And this isn't just so like I like Mark more. I don't really care if I like Mark. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to like Mark. I'm honestly, as it's going on, I'm not sure I'm supposed to like any of these people, which might also end up being a problem later on. We'll see. But I don't believe him right now as a character for what we've seen. Now, as we said, layers are getting peeled back. We're finding out more and more. But right now, 3 episodes in, what I understand about him, which is that he impeded the investigation of his dead kid, like active to the point of being arrested. Not just a matter of, I'm not going to answer this question in front of my wife, and you had to press me into the interrogation room like, okay, look, here's the deal, but don't tell anybody. Like, he allowed them to arrest him on suspicion over an affair. No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that as a character just feature unless they add some other layer to justify it. Because first of all, I don't believe he did it. He's the obvious suspect, and so I don't expect it to be him. But there has to be, I need something. Now, whether it is, I don't know, like he has some kind of breakdown and confesses to the fact that, he still isn't properly processing it, and he's focused on everything else but that. And like, I could maybe get there, with like a really good monologue. Maybe I could get there, because he's wants to preserve this affair because everything else is falling apart, and that was the last thing that was like he thought was good. So he's trying to hold on. Like, maybe I could go there, but that's me right now. That's me stretching. I don't get that off this character, off this setting, off this scenario. So I will be curious to see whether or not that if I ever feel like it is justified that he held up the investigation over just an affair, because right now I don't, and that reflects potentially poorly fleshed out writing. Or, again, it might also end up being reflective of the fact that maybe I'm not supposed to like any of these people, because I don't like most of them to some degree. When I say I don't like, I don't mean like they're poorly acted or anything, but I mean like as characters. A lot of them are just not particularly likable people. And I think that's probably about where I'm going to end. Jodie Whittaker keeps doing very well. She does the emotional impact of each thing that happens to her and that she learns about. She covers that spectrum really, really well. And like I said, I'm enjoying Tennant's dynamic and him and his partner. That's working for me. That's probably the highlight stuff right now. And I am at this point still more interested in the investigation than the emotional unravelings of the town, which is, and that's my natural inclination. Like when I watched Mystic River, feels like forever ago now. The storyline of the 3 or so going on that I was most interested in by far was the investigation. And that was like a third at best. It was probably even less than that. So that was part of why I put off watching Broadchurch for as long as I did. I'm like, this is going to be a character dive, and I'm going to keep going. Get back to the investigation, because I get more sucked into that, just kind of inherently. So, but the mystery does seem like it has enough twists and turns that it could really nail it. We shall see. For now, that's going to be it. That's episode 3 of Broadchurch. Oh, I have no theories on the burning boat. I have no clue what that was. Sure, I'll find out next time. So, Broadchurch, episode 3. Any thoughts on this particular episode? Wherever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all the stuff to do, such as like and subscribe and support me on Patreon and all that stuff. Links for all that and more is down in the description. So until next time, this council is adjourned.